Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
We're back for, I guess this will be chapter 5 because we did a 2-parter for After We Fell.
Yeah, unfortunately. Which we had to because the book is so long. There's no way we could have covered it all in one setting. We are glad to have you back. Whoever you are from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
We love you.
Yes.
You are our number 1 official fan.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty excited to have you here. So we just want to give a special shout out to our Pennsylvania listener. Welcome. And we appreciate you so much. Please, if you hear this and you want to reach out via email, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. How was your week?
Busy. Yeah.
Busy.
I had a busy week.
I was this whole week was just busy. I think it was just a weird week.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was tired, busy.
I'm always tired, so
I know. I'm always tired as well. I was just really busy.
yeah. I think it's where I finally hit that point in the new job where I could be busy, so it was busy.
Yeah. It was a good week though.
Mm-hmm.
I was just ready for Friday. So here we are.
Yeah.
It's Friday.
Friday.
It's Friday. Do you want to talk about our drink of the week?
On Friday.
Welcome to Friday.
So, you want to start with our opening first?
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Sarah.
This is Books, Booze,
and Besties.
Welcome, welcome. We're so happy to be here back with you guys for chapter 5.
Yes. A whole month in.
I know. It's exciting. I was actually thinking earlier about, I was like, won't it be cool when we're like a year in and we're like, oh my gosh, that's like 52 or 53 episodes.
I mean, a month ago, I could not fathom a year, but we're a month in and it has flown by.
It's really exciting. I'm so happy to be doing this. Like, I really look forward to this every week. I am more excited about this next week because we'll be starting a new book, something that neither one of us have read.
Something with good reviews. I don't know if you've seen it, but the book we are going to cover next, won't go into details,
We've not read it.
Right.
So we don't know.
Steven Spielberg himself has rated it 5 stars.
Okay. It's Hidden Pictures by, hold on, Jason Rekulak.
Rekulak. Yep.
Rekulak.
That sounds right. Yep.
Okay. I am so sorry if we've said the name wrong. We looked at TikTok to see how they said it.
Right.
They said Rekulak, so we're saying Rekulak. Don't come at us. We're still learning.
Yeah.
But we're super excited.
Yeah.
It's horror, thriller, suspense is what we're reading. We're really excited. I'm so excited to depart from the After series, as intense as it's been. We're ready to move past this and we're going to do a few singles.
Yes.
Standalone books.
Some mini chapters, if you will.
Yeah. And, we're going to be doing mini episodes, mini chapters on
the movies
and before.
Which I know some readers and listeners will count that as a part of the After series. We do not, just because it's a little bit all over the place. And I don't feel like you need to read that necessarily.
I did not read it for a long time.
Right. So we're going to include that in our mini chapters because I feel like it's just supplemental, same way the movies are.
It's extra.
Especially if you're a reader, the movies are extra. Before will be extra. I mean, I've seen reviews and personal, responses online where, of course, they read before, but they don't consider it a part of the series either. So.
Right. Honestly, it took me a long time to read it. And then when I did, which we'll talk about this more during the mini chapter, I didn't really care. It didn't add anything or take anything away from me.
Which it'll be a new experience for me. I have not read it yet, but I will before the mini chapter.
Yeah. So we'll have that out. It should be out the same night as our normal episode.
Right, yes.
We are ready to finish up after. We want to move into September, move into fall / spooky with, which I know September's not actually spooky.
But it is for us
but-
because we love fall. We love spooky. One leaf falls and we're ready. We're there.
See? It's just a bunch of hocus pocus here.
We got our Hocus Pocus cups.
Got my fall attire.
Which, I don't know
My fall shirt.
if you viewers are a fan of Nightmare Before Christmas, but I've got my Zero plushie here.
And we used Nightmare Before Christmas shot glasses.
Yes.
To drink our drinks.
Which you can see on social media. Social.
Yep. Social. We will be posting pictures of the shot glasses and the drinks and everything. The drinks are very tasty this week.
I think they're the best drinks we've had so far.
I'm loving the Malibu Sunset.
Which is what we went for this week. Which, if you've read the final book in the series, After Ever Happy, you know that it kind of starts out with Hardin going to bars, drinking some rum. Obviously, straight rum's a little hardcore for us, so we put a spin on it. We did coconut rum in Malibu Sunsets.
Yes, I am loving it. I think it's delicious.
Oh, yeah.
We put our kerosene cherries to top it off, which I haven't added a ton of flavor. I'm glad.
Right.
But when we ate them, they were still disgusting.
Oh, yeah. But this is, I think, my favorite drink we've done so far.
Mine too. I even liked it better. I like it better than the Sex on the Beach.
I mean, this is our second glass, so we clearly like it.
Yes. It's delicious. All right. Are we ready to dive into the last book of the After series?
I think so.
We also, one more thing. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're fine.
You can find us on YouTube. We haven't really put that out there too much.
Every chapter is on YouTube, too. We haven't really talked about YouTube. Of course, you can find us wherever you can find a podcast. But you can also find us on YouTube if you want the video part, too.
Right. We record ourselves talking. It's pretty basic, but we're here.
You can see what we look like, what our studio looks like. See my Zero plushie. Our alcohol.
Right? Yeah. Our booze.
I mean, and occasionally you'll see our mascot who's off camera, chilling.
Yeah. She's chill. Anyway, so yeah, we always forget to mention that we're on YouTube. We are there if you guys want to chime in on that.
We subconsciously forget on purpose, but we'll get to that another day.
It's weird seeing yourself on camera. I think currently there's only 2 subscribers, but we're hoping someday to have a lot more than that.
I think we'll get at least 4 before the end of the weekend.
Yeah. Also Netflix.
Thomas.
Subscribe. And
our producer, our lovely Thomas, who is a producer. Shout out Netflix. Thank you.
Sponsor us. Anyway. Trigger warnings. So trigger warnings for this book are definitely, we're going to be talking about the rape aspect regarding Trish. We will be talking about infertility, alcoholism,
drug abuse.
I'm trying to think other trigger warnings. I know infertility plays a major role in this book. Emotional abuse continued.
I mean, therapy, group therapy, and other things of that nature are mentioned. I don't know if that would be a trigger for some listeners or viewers.
Yeah. I got a splinter.
Ew. Where'd you get a splinter from?
I don't know. That hurt. Sorry, guys. I think that's it. So we wanted to make sure we address those before we got started. All right. Let's get into After Ever Happy. Let's finish it.
Let's just start
kind of, I guess,
with that title. That has been the hardest title for me to ever say.
Yeah. After Ever Happy.
I mean, like, I get it. Happy Ever After or whatever, but
it's a spin. It's still really
It's-
annoying, and it doesn't make any sense.
It's so awkward to say.
After
I just
ever
call it
happy.
the final book because I'm not gonna say after ever happy every time. It takes me. It's like a puzzle in my brain to figure out what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Last book of the After series. The movie it's getting ready to come out.
Which, spoiler alert, we found is gonna be a 2-parter. Which,
Oh, man.
if they were gonna make anything a 2-parter, they should have made the third book like we did a 2-parter.
A 2-parter. Which we'll talk about that.
And a mini chapter.
Yeah. We do plan on going to see the last movie by itself.
Not this next.
Which will be,
this weekend. Not
2
next
weeks.
weekend.
It comes
But
out
the
on
week
a
after.
Wednesday.
I know.
Comes out on a Wednesday. So we have to actually travel an hour to go see the movie because it doesn't come out locally. So we will be traveling to watch this movie, and then we will do a short chapter just talking about the movie.
Which I'm sure, I'm already disappointed because it's the first 2-parter they did. And
it's the shortest book.
Yes.
I don't want to get into that yet. We will dive into that when we actually see the movie. But anyway, the disappointment is in our voices.
We're a little jaded.
Yes. So, after Ever Happy, let's dive in.
The 4th book, if you will.
The 4th book picks up right where it left off.
Yes.
Again.
Which, every book, But
yeah.
this one
it's consistent, unlike a lot of other things in this book.
I think this one starts off where it left, but is a lot more dramatic, a lot faster. There's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
A lot that happens in that first 100 pages.
As soon as it picks up. Yes, 100 pages out of 500. So a fifth of the book is spent.
It's like back and forth. And
more than 100 pages.
It just keeps going.
Yeah.
You don't.
So it's crazy right off the bat. We pick up finding out, it's the continuation of Hardin finding out that Vance is his father, which it was surprising. Surprising, but not super surprising.
We could kind of. As a reader, you could kind of see it coming.
Yeah, there are clues throughout the book. Throughout all the books that Vance could potentially be there. You just don't really pick up on them until it's out there. There's clues. It's not hard to surmise that Vance is his biological father once you get to that point. So, first of all, to me, I made note of, why did they separate Tessa and Hardin when they were sharing this news with Hardin? Knowing that she keeps him level-headed.
Oh, I personally saw it as a parallel because they separated Vance and Kim, too. You have Kim, who is Vance's partner, and knows all this information already, telling Tessa at the same time Vance is telling Hardin. It's a parallel in my, what I took from it. It's Vance and his son, and Kim and her daughter figure.
Protege.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw it as a parallel.
But, they still, I think even Vance at some point says, I should have never separated you.
Well, also, why do it in a public setting? Why do it in a bar?
Oh, yeah, because Hardin lost his mind.
Well, even knowing Hardin's past, not even, taking that into consideration, that is so, there's no emotion there. There's no heartfelt, I'm telling you I'm your dad kind of thing. It's just, this is where we like to be, and here are random people, and we're going to tell you right now.
Yeah. I don't know. This whole thing was just off to me. They separated them. I don't know how I really felt about it. I felt like I saw it coming, but I wasn't super surprised. I don't guess I had really much feeling toward it. I was more concerned about the aftermath of Hardin taking off, getting wasted, Tessa trying to find him throughout the day. I I felt like Hardin's feelings towards his mother were justified. You know, he's like, there's so much
Hardin's
there.
feelings toward every parent, every parental figure he has in his life at that point is justified. I mean, this is just me as a therapist talking now, but normally, you know, and I don't want to put terms or labels on anything, but typically when you're an adoptive parent and you adopt a child and they don't know they're adopted, they find out about the time they're becoming a teenager because they already notice the differences. They notice things like that. I can see in Hardin's case where he wouldn't have noticed it that young, but that is about the age that they find out. So we have like a 22-year-old person at this point who has no idea that he could potentially have another dad.
Yeah. I mean, he's trying to rebuild his relationship with Ken, you know, and trying to find some footing there. And then he's just totally blindsided. Like, all this time to him, Vance was a friend, a confidant,
A family friend.
a family friend,
That's what he was.
someone who helped them when they were having a really hard time. And now this is my biological father who
was my mother's mister, I guess you would describe it.
Yeah, her lover. But now here I'm staring at, okay, I had two fathers who didn't do squat while my mother got gang raped.
Right.
Like, I have two people now that should have been there and nobody was there but me, and she got raped and I got
the consequences.
Anyway, where are we at?
Talking about Hardin having two parental figures, two father figures, and still having to be the one that
witnessed the gang rape of his mother. So now he is like, where were you? You know, she was gang raped, which was this father's fault. But, you know, now you're here. Where were you when this was happening? So now he's got all that playing in his mind. And he's basically like, screw this. I'm going to fall back into old patterns of, I'm just going to go get drunk. I'm just going to drink my sorrows away, which is really frustrating. But
that's the coping skill he knows.
Right. This is his negative coping skill. This is what he does. So we have that. He takes off to get wasted. Then Tess is looking for him, is really frustrated.
This is another trigger warning before we get into it. Grooming. Because
that lady at the bar.
Grooming.
Gross.
Underage type of predatory. I'll use that term. Predatory type
behaviors.
Of stuff. Yeah.
She finally finds him. He's at the bar. He's hanging out with a woman that he has had sex with.
Who is
his mother's friend.
His mom's age, yeah.
Yeah, gross. He had sex with her at like 16, maybe.
I mean, he was a child. She was over double his age at the time, so.
Yes. So we get to the bar. Tessa finds him. They get out of the bar. She talks him out of continuing the drinking and whatnot. So he finds his way over to his mother's.
Which I do want to hint at. Once again, the one thing Tessa finds to get Hardin out of his...
I thought that too.
You know, like, to get him to focus on her is to find a random guy and use that to get Hardin's attention.
Yes. So she claims she's going to find a guy, and Hardin's like, I don't think so. And he gets jealous. They leave the bar together. He finds his way over to his mother's home.
Which, another trigger warning, arson.
He burns his mother's house down, which they never mention again.
Which, conveniently, she was also moving at the time, so you know.
Yeah. They never mention this again in the whole book after they talk about the injuries that Vance got.
I mean, arson's a pretty big thing for it to have such a small.
He burned his mother's house down, the house that she had been living in since he was a child.
His childhood home.
Yeah, and they never bring it up again. It's never mentioned again. His mom doesn't call him that we know of. Nothing other than Vance getting a small injury on his arm and taking the fall. We do not hear about this again.
Right.
Which I think is just bizarre. Like, his mom doesn't say, like, what the hell, Hardin? You burned my house down.
That she was literally trying to sell so she could move in with her new husband that she was having an affair on.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something else I wanted to touch on. Mike and Kimberly are really freaking helpful for two people who just got cheated on. Kim's very forgiving. I'm just going to throw this out there. If my husband was banging someone else the night before that he had history with, the next day you're not going to see me helping him with anything.
No, I mean, maybe Kimberly is just a good-hearted person.
She's nicer than I am. I would have flown back to...
Stereotypically, someone will look at that scene and say, it was the money.
Yeah, I could see that. But in the, as the way she describes everything, she genuinely loves him and is upset. I mean, it talks about her crying and being upset and in sweats. But I'm like, no.
For one day, less than a day. In sweats for less than a day.
And then she's talking about going to the wedding of Trish and Mike. Mike is there when Vance tells Hardin that he's his father. And when Hardin starts fighting, Mike is the one to pull him off.
Mike doesn't even know Hardin.
Yeah.
He does. Hardin mentions, like, you mean the guy from next door that's like...
I think they have a brief conversation in book 3 during the 11 days.
Like, there is nothing there.
Yeah, I just thought that was ridiculous. That they both were just so willing to forgive.
Which, I don't know how much Kimberly loves Vance, but if I look at my personal life and my personal relationship, it would take more than less than 24 hours for me to be back on their side. I don't know that I ever could, but if I was, it would be a lot longer than, like
absolutely
16 hours.
Right. Yeah. I would have been like, I'm peacing out. I'll catch you when you get home in a few weeks. Like, I need some space.
I might also punch you in the face if you come near me.
Yeah. Kimberly's like, oh, it's, I'm upset, but it's fine.
I understand.
Which I get, history. Like, I guess she loves Smith.
Which, I get it. Smith probably had an attachment to Kimberly at that point too, but the way I look at it is, if I'm there and I'm in that situation, I'm like, they have history, I'm done. Kimberly was like, they have history, I understand. No. Yeah. Then you're the side piece if you look at it that way.
Yeah.
So you can't use the son as your reasoning because you're the side piece.
Right. No, I get it. I thought Vance was going to die. When they called Tessa the next day and they're saying something happened, I thought they were going to be like, Vance was killed in the fire. And he's not, but I thought it was going to be more than he got a little burn on his arm.
That would have been a heck of a story.
Well, yeah, Hardin would have had to deal with that. But they wanted to take this book and gear it more towards Tessa's trauma, which I love.
Which they also didn't really ever hint on, but whatever.
Well, she's got the trauma from her dad.
But they address the trauma now, not the past trauma, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Hardin gets to talk about his nightmares and what happened to his mom and being poor, and Tessa mentions it like one time, and then she has to deal with the trauma of losing her dad right now. And never...
Right. Yeah, I get that.
Which is something I pointed out in the last chapter, where I said something controversial in that Hardin and Tessa have parallel stories, but she's seen as a twat and he's seen as the protagonist because his gets played out and hers is vaguely mentioned.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that too. So we move on to Tessa and Hardin splitting up. He believes,
not before they have sex, of course.
Well, I mean, they have to bang it out one more time, of course.
In a car this time.
In a car when they're both tired.
That has to be super awkward. Like, let's have sex and then I'm gonna drop you off and never see you again. That's
right. And that was Hardin's plan. Like, I'm gonna bang you and then I'm out. Mm-hmm. Thanks for the goodbye sex. And then but honestly, I wanted to smack Tessa when she was like, I gotta give it one more go. And I'm like, girl,
give it one more go? You've given it 100.
Yeah. Leave his ass in London. Leave. Let him lose his way, hit rock bottom, whatever. When she goes back to that apartment and she's in there and he is being disgusting and, doing whatever with that girl, Janine, I would have been just like, I'm out. Goodbye. I'm done.
You have had all of this history with Tessa at this point. She is the one for you, and Tessa literally walks in on you making out with a girl she doesn't know. I mean, this girl's all over you. You guys kiss in front of Tessa.
She's wearing his shirt. I never really understood what really happened there because it kind of makes you believe that he attempted to sleep with Janine, but then he got sick. Mm-hmm. He said, she touched me. I got sick.
Which means he was literally trying to do whatever he needed to do to forget Tessa in like 3 hours.
Yeah.
But
that really disgusted me.
You have the 9 days that was actually 11. You have the way he acted after the bet. I mean, you have all of these things, and then in 3 hours when he decides he's going to stay in London, he attempts to sleep with another girl. She's wearing his shirt, which wasn't even like I know Tessa's going to come for me, so I want her to wear my shirt. It was literally like, I don't give a fuck. I mean, like, we're in this moment. This is it. Like, there is no more Tessa.
Yeah, I'm going to be shirtless, and, maybe we'll give it another go.
I mean, could you imagine if he'd actually done something with Janine? There's no way Tessa would have ever gotten back with him.
Well, I mean, throughout the book, she does think that they slept together. But they're not even back together when he confirms that they did not sleep together. Right.
I mean, we look at the same thing with Molly. If Hardin had actually done something with Molly, during the bet, and even after they have the 9 days and that kind of thing, there would be no Hardin and Tessa. So, like, while she's trying to be the bigger person here, if it had come out that they had actually done something, I don't think Tessa and Hardin...
she was already disgusted at that point. So, she finally gets the hint. She leaves. I was really proud of her for letting it go. Because it was that time...
well, I mean, how many times can you do this too? I mean, one of you has to grow up and move on, and at that point, it has to be her because he's relapsed to more than just alcoholism. He's relapsed back to drugs, which he hadn't even done since he went to college.
Yeah. So. I mean, it was time. I was proud of Tessa for finally, sticking with her word, and she left London. Of course, we know what this leads into. But first, before we get into the big thing that happened to Tessa, what year is all this happening? It never says a year. Before Tessa goes back to the apartment that she shared with Hardin, she talks about getting an iPhone. So I'm curious as to what year this was supposed to be because there's never any mention of any type of social media. Throughout the book, she talks about how stupid she is for not, she has an iPhone and she can't text on it. She's so surprised at all the things you can do, is this like 2007? Because that's really when I think the iPhone came out in like 2007, 2008. So I'm just curious. It never mentions a year, but she is so like dumbfounded by all the things on an iPhone, and it's gotta be.
Which also, I mean, if you guys know Anna Todd, you know this is a One Direction fan fiction originally. It would have to be like 2010, 2012 because of One Direction.
So,
at least.
So there was Facebook. MySpace was a thing before Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So even if she wasn't on Facebook, there was still MySpace. Anyway, I just, inconsistency, discrepancy, whatever you want to call it. Someone would have had some type of social media at this point.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean, Skype came out in 2003, fun fact, but
the fact that nothing is ever mentioned for anybody just blows my mind. Anyway,
also,
fast forward. Oh, go ahead.
Facebook would have been a super popular thing, so I'm surprised it's not mentioned more.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, there's no social media mentioned whatsoever. Hardin would have been stalking her on Facebook or whatever. They would have been stalking each other.
Which, I don't know, that kind of leads me into more things. She had a laptop, right?
Yeah.
So she had a laptop, but didn't know how to work an iPhone. But she was also, like, in the very first book, Google searching car dealerships and which one was the best one near her. I don't know.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
You can go down a rabbit hole real fast.
Yeah, we'll leave that behind, but just, throw in more little discrepancies out there. Yeah. Anyway. So Tessa finds her father in the bathroom of the apartment
Trigger
that she
warning.
shared. Yeah, trigger warning.
Because we did not mention.
Overdose.
Yes.
We didn't bring that up. Trigger warning. Tessa's father did overdose in the bathroom.
Which is even harder knowing that she hadn't quite grasped that he had relapsed to the extent that he had. She did not expect him to even be in the apartment.
Talk about scary. When you think about that, like, happening to you in real life, you're in this apartment. She's even in the closet, in the bedroom, reading stuff that, Hardin wrote, which we'll talk about later in the book.
Mm.
She's reading stuff. She's just in the apartment doing things. And then she goes to the bathroom. Not only is she, like, realizing that she's seeing a dead body, she's praying that it's not Hardin, who's, somehow traveled back and has overdosed in the bathroom. And then it's like, well, thank God it's not Hardin, but holy shit, it's my father. And then we find out later that she actually sat with his body for an hour.
Before Landon realized.
Right. He thought she was just
reminiscing.
Yeah, like getting some closure of her and Hardin's relationship. All the meanwhile, Hardin's in London doing drugs, drinking constantly.
Mm-hmm. Poor Landon. He's always stuck in the crappiest positions.
Right.
Which, kudos to Landon also for literally blowing up Hardin until he literally can get a hold of Hardin just to say, you fucked up.
This is bad. Like, this is real bad. Where are you? You've really screwed the pooch here. She needs you and you're not here to help her.
Also, this is somewhat your fault because you let her dad have access to the apartment while you all were in London. Did not let Tessa know. And did not let Tessa know how bad her dad was actually doing.
Well, he was supposed to be in rehab and he left and they didn't call anybody. Mm-mm. They didn't call Hardin's dad and stepmom. They didn't let anybody know that he had busted out, basically. So, basically, she's in shock. Which the whole thing, this just breaks my heart for Tessa from here on out. You know, that I did really get satisfaction though when Hardin goes to call her from London and her phone
Yes.
is disconnected.
Yes.
Oh man, I was like, screw you, Hardin, in your face.
You finally get something.
Like, yeah, this is karma. You know, this is finally it. Like, in your face. I was so happy. I was like, yeah. It just made me feel so much glee. That he was finally getting some comeuppance. Anyway, so, you know, and then he gets the call, and then he gets even more when he's like, they're trying to put her on the phone with him because they think it might help her come out of her shock. And she's like, no, 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 no. I do not want to talk to that asshole. No, don't put him on the phone with me. And he hears this and he's like, I really screwed up here. I've made a huge mistake. I'm going to get in the car drunk and I'm going to drive to the airport and pray that I don't get pulled over. He doesn't, though. Apparently, nobody stops him.
Which is also so stupid.
And, you know, so he hops on a flight. So, you know, Tessa's at Landon's and Karen's and Ken's, basically in this comatose state. She's not talking. She's not doing anything, just sitting in the same spot because she's in complete and total shock from finding her father dead. Her mom and Noah show up to pick her up. Carol here was just mind-blowing because I just was like, as a mother, what?
I don't think she's been a mother to Tessa for a long time.
She even says, she's like, what am I supposed to do with her? Why is she like this? And Karen's like, well, she's in shock.
Poor Karen, who only has one kid the same age as Tessa, is having to literally educate another mom who
is... Karen's like, she's in shock. Like, what do you expect from her? And so, Carol and just that whole thing, I'm like, even when you walk in and you don't know what's going on, you still don't say, like, what's wrong with her? What am I supposed to do? Like, be a mother. You know, just I don't know, Carol. I just thought maybe this was a little too cold even for Carol.
Which, not talking about Carol, but there's one discrepancy I wanted to point out and one rabbit hole. So discrepancy, we're always talking about Hardin and his money. Where did he get it? I don't know about you all, but international tickets are expensive. And if you've just been doing drugs and heavily drinking, how do you whip out enough money to just get an international ticket at the airport?
Hardin's funds are something I brought up throughout the book. Because there's some stuff later where I'm like, that's suspicious. This doesn't make sense to me.
That's weird. That's
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Anyway. Yeah.
The rabbit hole. Sorry.
You're fine. Go ahead.
The rabbit hole I wanted to go down is the one with Tessa's dad. I mean, Tessa's dad would not have been in the apartment at all if Tessa had not magically bumped into him in Seattle. And Tessa wouldn't have been so gung-ho to have a relationship with her dad if Carol hadn't have been such an ass about it in the first place and hid it from Tessa and then questioned Tessa about it. But also, Tessa was a little weird in that situation too because, you know.
She invited him back immediately.
Well, and she also had not mentioned her dad other than he was a shithead who had left, you know, walked out on her and her mom. And suddenly she wants a relationship with him. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because Tessa's still a kid at this point. It's natural for her to want that. But this rabbit hole, I mean, it spirals into something huge. I mean, a rare occurrence with a random homeless man turns out to be your dad. And then your boyfriend magically is like, here's where the spare key is. And then you find him dead in your bathroom.
Yeah.
It's just insane because for a
It's A, B, and C lead to Z.
Yes, because the first book, all you know is that Tessa's dad is a shithead who walked out on
An alcoholic,
his wife
abuser.
and daughter, who was a DV perp and an alcoholic, and now suddenly he's a homeless man doing drugs, and now he's dead in your bathroom. So,
yeah. And he becomes besties with your boyfriend,
which did not like him at first, and then they bonded over alcoholism, and it just spiraled from there.
Absolutely. Yes. So basically, my note here was Carol, WTF. She has no concept of being a mother. And it's true.
Because she never was. Tessa was just
a pawn.
Yeah.
In her behavior. Like, I want you to be a reflection of me. It was just really annoying, and I don't like Carol. Harden hit rock bottom here.
Congratulations. Took you a long time. Tessa's hit rock bottom like 3 times now.
I know, right? Yeah. Anyway. The whole thing with Tessa, since she finds her dad, is just really heartbreaking.
I know, that was the hardest part for me in all of the series. Like, it just, you did not expect it whatsoever.
No.
And it's probably the hardest thing you'll face in this entire series. It's the realest thing, and it's the hardest thing. I mean,
this was my favorite book.
This was my favorite scene. I'll give it that credit. This was because, I mean, I'm not a masochist or a sadist or whatever. It was the most real part in this entire series. It was something you could relate to, something you could understand, something real.
Yeah. I really like this book because I felt like it was good to see Harden have to be the vulnerable one and have to take care of Tessa for once versus her having to figure out next steps with him. Like, Tessa was like, I can't do this anymore. And she stuck to her guns in this. And, they are still back and forth quite a bit.
I mean, she slightly gives in after her father's funeral, but then Landon gives her a slap in the face and she's like, you know what? I really am done this time. Like, I have to focus on me.
Yeah. And one scene I did really want to discuss, the scene in the bedroom where she finally is telling Harden, and I've talked about this scene for years,
mm-hmm.
and I hope that they do it right in the movie. Not that my expectations are super high,
mm-hmm.
And she's just telling him, she's like, I cannot give you more. I can't do this anymore. And he's like, sure, you can. Like, this is who we are. We go back and forth. And she's like, no, this is not who I want to be anymore. I don't want to have to fight to keep you. I don't want to have to survive. I want to live. And he's like, he's just begging her. He's like, we can get married. I'll pay for the wedding. I have money.
Also,
I can buy you a dress.
I don't know about you all out there, but if marriage or kids are the option when you're having relationship problems, that's not a good sign.
Right. You probably should just take a break, because if you're thinking that, a marriage or children are going to save us,
it's only going to make things worse, and it's going to make things worse for those kids if that's the option.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Don't do it. That's a red flag.
Red flag?
Red flag for your relationship.
But I was very proud of her for saying, this time, you cannot follow me. Like, you cannot. This is it.
To New York?
Yeah, you cannot follow me. I have to have time for me. Because for the last, 3 months, it's been you and I.
Yeah.
Which,
for 3 months in real time. It's been us, but now it's,
I haven't been a single person since the day I got to college. And now it's time for me to grow up and figure things out and process my trauma and move on. And I can't do that when we're in a constant loop of chaos.
Which she also, before she tells him, she also finds out that she is not able to have children, or the possibility is very slim.
Mm-hmm.
So she deals with that.
Which is a big thing for her, because
She's dreamed of being a mother.
She wants to be a mom. She wants to be a wife. That is her thing.
And then she actually tells Hardin that she cannot be a mother at the restaurant. And he's like,
he handles it completely opposite of what you would expect. He talks about never wanting to have kids, never wanting to be married, which, you know, obviously he changed that up for Tessa because he's like, we'll get married right now. But he does not handle that situation well at all.
yeah, he says, like, well, you know, now that you're telling me I can't be a father, I really thought I wanted to be a father. And she's like, wait, what? Like,
you didn't want to be, and now I'm telling you you don't have to be.
yeah. And now you're saying you're disappointed and you're making me feel like shit because I can't give you children. And the whole thing is just really sad. I felt really bad for Tessa here.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, she proceeds to tell him, like, I'm moving to New York, which once again, I hated that she felt like she had to just run all over the United States every time she gets her heart broken.
The running is annoying. It's redundant. It's too much.
Yeah, like, stop just up and rerouting your life.
I could see her wanting to distance herself from the university after telling Hardin to, you know, give her a break. But going to the East Coast from the West Coast is a big difference.
Right, and she's already moved to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and she doesn't go to classes. None of them do.
Nobody goes to classes.
Once again, like, inconsistency. She hasn't been to classes in God knows how long. So she doesn't go to classes. So
that just made me think of another inconsistency.
What's that?
So Landon transfers to NYU. NYU. He would have just finished freshman year. And in 2 years from that point, he is getting married. Yeah. So he would not have even graduated yet. And is getting married and starting his adult life with what money, what job, how?
Yeah. I just realized that too. He would have just been starting his senior year.
Well, yes, at a normal school, but he transferred from Washington to NYU, so he probably would have been a fifth-year senior, logistically speaking. So he would have been probably about 2 years away from having a degree.
Yeah.
And is suddenly getting married and starting a family and getting a real job, and it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
Also, that would make him 20 getting married.
Yeah. To an older woman, which is fine.
Right.
But still, like,
that's a big step to take.
What is the deal in this book's pushing marriage at young ages? Because, you know, Tessa finds out when she's 18 or, 19, Hardin doesn't want to get married, and it, like, kills her. And it's like, well, how about we just date for a while and see how it goes? Instead, it becomes the focus of their relationship and ends up driving a wedge between them.
I mean, like,
just hang on for a second. Like,
to each their own. But Landon had been in a long-term relationship, a very heavy long-term relationship until he met Sophia or Sophie. And then they're together for about 2.5 years and they're getting married.
Yeah.
And he would have been about 20, maybe 21.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you pushing that down these, like, young people's throats?
I think Anna Todd portrayed these characters how she felt in that moment. So, like, Tessa is this brand new, bright-eyed young girl when she gets to college. Mm-hmm. And then, legit time-wise, later, 3 months later, she's the seasoned girl that's had such a hard time and, is ready to kick ass and take names. And, Landon, who is this hardcore, independent guy who's there for everyone, is getting married at 20.
Yeah.
Logical, knows better than everyone Landon is getting married at 20, which probably the way Anna wanted to portray it, he's probably like 25, 26. But she literally says 2 years later, so.
Yeah. But leading up to that, Tessa shares that she's moving to New York. Landon and Hardin fight.
Without actually fighting for the
Yeah.
first time in Hardin's life.
Yeah, because they've actually built a really good relationship. And then
It's that moment, too, where Landon's literally like, Tessa,
yeah,
stop.
yeah.
You are the reason.
Because she is literally like upstairs saying like, I don't know if I'm going to move now because I'm reconsidering
Mm-hmm.
my future with you. And then Landon's like, I'm done with this, I'm done with you guys. He gets pissed.
He literally tells Tessa, he's like, wherever you go, toxicity follows, and you're literally disrupting this family when my mother is literally trying to say, I'm about to have a child.
Yeah, I felt really bad. I did feel bad for Tessa.
I feel bad for
Especially,
her, too.
she feels like she is a part of this family, and Landon's like, wake up call, you're actually not.
Which, like, logistically, she's known them for less than a year, and she's up in their business all the time.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And right now is a really bad time to be bringing your bullshit in when Landon's mom and Ken's new wife is saying, hey, I'm pregnant. We're going to have a child together. And then Tessa's over here like, yeah, I'm moving to New York City, and it pissed Hardin off. So he's thinking about punching Landon in the face.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just, I do feel bad because she has built a relationship with these people, but she isn't part of their family. She, they're trying to do some things that she really doesn't need to be a part of, like build that relationship with Hardin and Ken, even though Ken is not his biological father.
Which, as bad as I felt for Tessa, I mean, she literally says, you need to stay here and build a relationship with your family. Like, she herself says, this is your family. So.
Yeah. So then we move into Selena Gomez territory. I get all Selena Gomez vibes in this book. What's the song called? Lose You to Love Me. Mm-hmm. This is what I picture. This is the song that I picture, which the movie's going to disappoint me. I know that already. This is what I picture as Tessa drives off because she finally says, enough is enough. Mm-hmm. We need to be apart. And Hardin's initial reaction is like, absolutely not. I can't be away from you. And then finally he's like, okay, how long? And, there we start the next part of the book, in my opinion. That's how I feel. Yeah, I hear Selena Gomez, Lose You to Love Me, as she drives away from Hardin. Because it brought tears to my eyes because I was like, here we go.
Which, that just, I know how they split this last movie. I know where they split it.
Spoiler alert. We already know.
Why wouldn't they just split it before? I mean, there's so much that happens with London and the dad and, Zed's bullshit. Why wouldn't you end it there? Why add in the New York part in the final movie just to end it there? Like, just make that one whole, you know what I mean?
Right.
Stop as she's going to New York. Don't add in the rest of that shit till the second part.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of things we're going to disagree with.
It's so stupid.
So yeah. So she finally convinces Hardin, enough's enough. We need some time apart.
Which I don't know if he was actually convinced in that moment. I think it was like, if I want to keep Tessa, this is what I got to do.
Right.
Which actually works out for him. Because if anyone makes progress, anyone recovers in this, it's Hardin.
I think honestly they both do.
Oh, I know she does too. But I mean, in that first, 2 months before graduation, which, let's talk about that. Hardin's literally graduating after she goes to New York and they split. So that means it's literally been 9 months. This whole thing has taken place in 9 months.
It's a lot.
But in that initial 2 months before graduation, Hardin makes so much progress compared to Tessa.
Yeah, she's still at her mom's house. Mm-hmm. She's at her mom's, which I commend her for taking time to actually figure out what she wants, because up until now, she's just been so impulsive.
Mhm.
Like, I'm going to move to, we're upset. We're upset with each other. We're not doing well. I'm going to move to Seattle.
Mhm.
Well, guess what? We're upset with each other. I'm going to move to New York now. So she actually takes that time. Her and her mom reconnect. Basically, Carol has a lobotomy and she changes her personality completely because she meets a man. So where do you think Tessa gets the change for a man? Carol. Bling, blink, 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 blink.
Lobotomy. Me and lobotomy have something going on. Anyways.
So yeah, Carol has a lobotomy and changes her personality. Her and Tessa start getting along really well.
Isn't it crazy how Tessa met a man in the very beginning and her whole personality changed?
Yeah.
And now Carol's doing the exact same thing.
Ugh. Yeah. I mean, hello. So
Sorry, Noah, but you must not have been a man.
Yeah. Well, he was just so goody two shoes, and so was Tessa. So I mean, is there a parallel there?
Yeah, Noah was her little brother, not her boyfriend.
That's true.
Nothing like making out with your little brother.
Ooh. Ew. I can't. I don't have a little brother, but still gross.
Grossy.
So from there, we find out Hardin is graduating.
Which that whole thing is a little.
I got really upset.
It's annoying.
This whole thing, the end of their book lasted barely lasted. Makes me angry. I was really angry at this whole we literally, for like 2,000 pages, maybe give or take, we hear day by day of their relationship. And then they finally get to a place where they're both doing well. There's recovery on both ends. And then you skim past everything.
I specifically found the graduation annoying. I mean...
Oh my gosh, me too.
The cell phone thing, losing your cell phone in the bathroom.
Right.
Hardin leaving with his newfound friends.
Who never get mentioned after this.
Also, Hardin leaving with piss poor friends is nothing new for him. So there's that progress.
Yeah.
Also, Ken, who's supposed to be, trying really hard to be, Hardin's dad, who also, really cares about Tessa, just kind of zones out. He disassociates and he's just kind of there.
Yeah, he doesn't even, he's like, oh, sorry, Tessa. Hardin left with his friends. Instead of being like, hold on, Tessa, let me call him and see what's going on.
Well, even that whole thing, like, he knew that Tessa was looking for Hardin before Hardin left with his friends. That whole thing was just silly.
And Hardin wouldn't have done that. He would have tracked Tessa down. It's only been 2 months. And he talks about, he's looking for her before he even knows she's there, for sure.
Also, this is kind of a flash forward, but at Landon's wedding, her escape is into the bathroom. And he says, you think that's going to stop me? Well, the place he cannot find her at graduation is in the bathroom. Literally 2 months after they're up each other's asses for 9 months straight. And he, that's no-go for him there. But 2 years later, you think a bathroom's going to stop me?
Yeah, that whole thing. And then they email a few times.
Who emails?
Like, Hardin couldn't stay away from her for anything. And I get it. He's trying to respect her wishes when she finally does move.
6 times in 2 years? They see each other 6 times.
Yeah.
In 2 years.
And then all of a sudden, he's just a completely different person who is willing to just be away from her. No biggie. And that really frustrated me.
Also, I don't know what kind of person you are, but if I'm willing to be away from someone, no problem after that, there probably isn't really a relationship there.
Right.
There's not. I'm not making progress on our relationship. I'm making progress on myself, and I'm moving forward without you.
Right,
So,
which I think is where Tessa was at. Like, she was like, well, he's basically forgotten me.
Which is the way normal things would go, and then they're suddenly like, oh, okay, cool, it's elopement time. How?
meet up. Yeah. Like, they meet up in New York after Landon and her moved to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And Hardin shows up.
Also, I don't know about you, but I've seen those YouTube videos about apartments in New York. A 2-bedroom apartment? Ken can't afford that. And waitress sitting at a restaurant ain't gonna pay your half.
That's bougie.
That's hella bougie. Now, if it was like a studio with 2 beds, maybe.
No kinkiness. Yeah. Robert pops back up unnecessarily. Only reason he's popped back up because he randomly was like, yeah, I also decided to move from Seattle to New York. Give me a frickin' break.
Robert is not a part of the 4th book whatsoever. Or 4th movie whatsoever.
He's not?
Nope. Saw that today. Spoiler.
Oh, Lord. So.
Yeah, he's
oh my gosh.
He's not a character in either part of the final movies.
Okay. All right. Sure. The movies just bring me down, for real. So, yeah. So, in the book, Robert is just there as a pawn, of course, to make Hardin jealous. Not necessarily Tessa's pawn, but Anna Todd's pawn. You know, they kind of find their way back to each other a little bit while Hardin's visiting, which I loved. I love that he was like waiting for her when she got done working and he wanted to walk her home. And, you know, then they have the sexy sex, which I wasn't mad about.
He's willing to wait for her and walk her home after every shift, but he couldn't find her after his graduation.
He couldn't find her in the bathroom. Or, you know,
just saying.
Wait somewhere. He's like, oh, I assumed you left. She's like, I assumed you left. I thought you left. And they're like, oh, it's so funny. Oh, okay.
Jesus
It's so stupid. Made me so mad. So he walks her home. They lick pasta sauce off each other. And
is this Lady and the Tramp?
They suck off the...
They suck off... They suck.
They suck on the same noodle.
Do they?
Maybe. I don't know.
I missed that part.
Doesn't go into detail.
Is there like a parallel going on here?
Ooh.
Slurpy slurp.
Get that sauce on me.
Off. The whole point is to get off.
Get the sauce off me. Get wrecked. I don't know.
I hope your mom listens to this.
Your mom. I lost where we were. Jesus. Anyway. Sarah just ate a kerosene cherry.
Mm-hmm.
Reference TikTok if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
Her face looks like she ate a kerosene cherry. Yuck. So yeah, this is the big moment where we find out Hardin has been keeping this secret throughout all the books.
Which, for it to be a big ass secret, I feel like Anna Todd did well at giving hints for this one.
She did. I also felt like Tessa was a huge drama queen.
I mean, yes. I mean, obviously, you know, I would be awkward or embarrassed at first too.
She's legitimately, she's like, don't Tessa me, MFer. And I'm like, would I be upset? Maybe.
Joke's on you, you're in a simulation. You're already in a book, Tessa. Lol.
Joke's on you.
Inception.
You're done.
It's literally Tessaception, if you will.
You are a fictional character, Tessa. Anyway.
We are too. No. Anyway.
This is the Matrix.
This is the Matrix.
So we find out Hardin's been writing their entire story throughout their entire relationship about everything that's been happening. Kudos to him, because I can't remember to journal every day, and he apparently does.
Also, how can he be journaling every day and not make progress until after they split? You know what I mean?
Journaling is one of my go-to coping skills.
Journaling is like a major therapeutic.
If he's journaling, I mean, I feel like he should have been doing a lot better, a lot faster.
I mean, after finding that out, I'm just sitting there thinking, like, I screeched "I love you" to Tessa as I ran from the frat house, and then I stopped to write it down in my notebook.
And then I took it back, like in the asshole that I am.
She saw the bloody sheets in my trunk, and then I wrote it down in my notebook that she saw the bloody sheets. The bed, I fell to my knees, and then I wrote about falling to my knees.
Yeah.
Shit's
so,
awkward.
But I felt like Tessa was way too dramatic here. She's, I don't know. I guess I don't know how I would react to having a story wrote about my life, but my life is like
we also
awesome and boring all at the same time.
Started a podcast, so
we are podcast stars. This is a Caitlin show, and Sarah is merely a guest.
I'm a pawn.
She's a guest on my podcast.
She tells me what to do, where to be and when. No, I feel like Tessa overreacted too, because if she would have literally said, "Don't publish it," he wouldn't have published it.
Right. Even though
also, if he did publish it and you were okay with it, why did she automatically assume everyone was gonna know it was about her and Hardin? Why do you automatically assume that thousands of people are gonna read this and then stalk you and Hardin out?
Which he said there are like fights over his book, like there's a bidding war. So that means it's
because of who he is, because of Vance. It's not about the book itself. Like, that doesn't mean it's gonna be a popular book. And even if it is, so what? Unless you're gonna go out there and be like, yeah, every part of this book is true. Hardin and I are super toxic. People are most likely gonna think it's a fiction book anyways.
It's a story of recovery. I just thought, it seemed romantic to me, but she acted like it was just terrible. So I don't really know.
I feel like Tessa really lost herself in this book too. I know she was on the road to recovery, but the Tessa we end with is not even a 180 of the Tessa we began with. It's just a completely different Tessa.
Yeah. It's true.
She doesn't want to get married. She is, infertility. She doesn't really have a choice over that. But she always wanted to get married. She decides that's not for her anymore. She was immediately an English major. That's always been what she loved. Literature was always what she loved. And then she becomes a party planner. That's way out of left field. What the fuck?
Yeah, it was crazy. Because I was just thinking, I was like, so then she kind of is like, I'm going to give it a chance. And then we jump ahead 2 years without even really knowing what happened between the two of them. And then you find out, like, I guess she got salty because of the publicity that she was getting.
You chose to live in New York City?
People were trashing her because of the book. And so then she takes it out on Hardin. Like, it makes it kind of confusing because she says in the bathroom at Landon's wedding, she's like, I am really sorry that I let people basically obscure my view of you. And they were coming at me. So that's why I reacted and didn't.
Who was coming at you?
I guess the fans of his book.
I know, but logically thinking, they didn't have social media. How are they going to just find a random Tessa somewhere?
Yeah, there was no social media again.
So just thousands of fans immediately knew who Tessa was and stalked her? No.
Yeah, I don't know.
She's literally Carol 2.0 in that scene. Anyways.
So, I loved the whole wedding scene. I love that, it looked like Hardin and Smith's relationship had really been developing, along with Hardin and Landon's relationship. He was best man.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved Hardin's speech. It was really sweet. Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same. I have that tattooed. I have that.
The dude.
I have the dude. I have that tattooed on my side. It's one of my favorite quotes.
Do you even know what that's from?
Wuthering Heights. Yeah.
Okay, you got me there.
I do have my husband's initials tattooed on me. But he is my soul.
Going.
Anyway, yeah, I'm that person. I have my husband's initials on me.
She's basic.
What? I'm basic. It's true. I'm a basic bitch. So we find out that Tessa tried to date Robert. Didn't pan out, of course, because her and Hardin are soulmates.
Also, why? Why would you try at that point? I mean, if you're gonna start over fresh, bro.
Yeah.
Because the whole cabin scene from the last book was just
ugh.
ugh.
Don't take me back there. I cannot go back. Like, I just can't.
So why would you go with the single piece you have remaining of it? You know?
Right.
Grossies.
Gross.
Also, I don't know if you all know, but New York City's quite big. It's got 5 boroughs. And somehow Tessa and Robert magically wound up in the same location.
Working together.
With millions of people and 5 boroughs. And...
What's a borough?
You're joking, right?
No. What's a borough?
They're the 5 boroughs in New York City. You've got
I don't
the
know
Bronx,
what that is.
Manhattan. So you got the Bronx, Manhattan, Upper East Side, Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. See,
You
I don't know
know
what
You
I
know
don't know what a borough is, but I know.
You know that the Bronx is Brooklyn, right?
Oh no! Don't be fooled by the watch that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block.
Anyways, there are a lot of people in a lot of space in New York City.
I don't own the rights to that song, so don't come at me. Don't.
That was Michael Jackson, right?
That's J-Lo. Oh my god! I said I'm still Jenny from the block. It's for sure Michael.
I mean, it's Jackson, Jenny. I don't know.
What the hell? Anyway, let's just finish this. Oh my gosh. We are at an hour and 14. Let's finish this book. Okay. So they come back together finally at the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
They decide to elope. Doesn't pan out.
Which is good on Hardin because he literally is like, if I go through with this, she'll regret it. And I'm not going to do that to her.
It was really sweet.
And she, the next morning, is like, you know what? Thank you. I would have gone through with it last night. But I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah, because he knew she wanted more out of a wedding. So it never mentions them like legit getting married. It never mentions it like
Because they never do.
We don't know that yet. That's in before. But it just like you assume that they did, or at least I did.
I've never read before, and I knew they never got married.
Well, yeah, it confirms it before.
Oh, well, in the final book, it basically insinuates that they never get married because in the very, like, one of the final few chapters, Hardin's talking to one of their kids, and he's like, yeah, she never let me marry her.
Yeah, it's dumb. After all the emphasis put on marriage, like, I'm cool. Don't get married if you don't want to. But they spent 4 books talking about how badly she wanted to get married.
And how they wanted forever, and now she's always going to be.
Which they end up finding their way. And it even talks about how he never raises his voice in front of his children. They never get into, like, heated arguments like that. They were able to find a way to be together in a healthy way. And he seeks therapy. He's on meds.
I mean, it worked out because they stay in New York forever.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be in a different city.
I think they said they find an apartment in Brooklyn.
The Bronx, yeah.
So yeah, happily happy ever after here.
I mean, it worked out because it wouldn't have ended in New York
If
City.
it would have ended differently with them not getting together, which Anna Todd said she thought about doing, I would have been majorly pissed.
Let's also talk about a discrepancy here. Hate to be
Do
that
it.
person,
No,
but
do it. We thrive on discrepancies.
let's talk about Landon for a second, right? Tessa talks about him being a teacher in New York City. And his wife is a dancer. I don't know about you, but
You thought she was a stripper.
no, that's not where I was going. No, I was just going to mention, like teachers are not paid well. They are not at all. And dancers are paid on commission. So
Maybe she's a bougie dancer.
I feel like in this book it works out fine or whatever, but in real life, like, they would be struggling hardcore. They would not be having kids, and they probably would not be living in New York City long term.
Well, Landon probably has some kind of inheritance from Ken.
You mean Hardin?
Both.
That's right, because Hardin gets his from Vance.
Oh, yeah. I was fine with the way this book ended, other than how quick it ended. I was happy that they ended up together. Obviously, I would have been majorly upset if they didn't.
Right.
I needed more detail, though. Like I said before, we went every day knowing exactly when somebody took a shit to, sorry, it made me angry, to, they're Anna Todd rushing through the last, forever. I wanted to hear more about their recovery, about the healthy part of their relationship.
Well, I think a thing that really got me too is a big part of this book, and even mentioned in the last book, is that Tessa could potentially be infertile, and then she's told that she probably will never have kids, and it's a big deal for her, and it's a big deal for Hardin, and then they just jump and they have 2 kids, and they never talk about overcoming that, and
They other than like she has a miscarriage,
but that's it.
which they address, but then all of a sudden she magically gets pregnant twice.
But
And I would have, yeah,
I mean, the miscarriage part they did
trigger warning.
justice somewhat. We mentioned that in the beginning.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
I mean, they did do that justice a little bit, but for them to have stretched it out over 2 books and to make it a big deal, like one chapter, she loses a baby, and then they have 2 kids. That's it. They don't talk about the emotions. They don't talk about the trying. They don't talk about how happy they are to be parents, what the struggle is like to be parents. I mean, we literally know, Tessa waking up and studying and getting coffee and what it's like to go to classes in the first book. And then we don't hear about having kids and what it's like a struggle to be one of the cherries.
Yeah.
We don't know about the struggles of being first-time parents. We don't hear about any of that, but we literally know that she didn't know it was co-ed bathrooms in the first book.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, that was my main issue with this book. This was my favorite of the series.
I mean, you could just see that Anna Todd was done. She wrote what she needed to write to be done.
Yeah.
So, and that's why Before came out, because she needed to tie up loose ends and make more money.
Yeah. Before is a money grab. That's why we're doing a mini episode, a mini chapter. Before was a money grab. That's why we're just touching on it. We're not spinning a whole episode.
I bet you don't even know this.
Oh gosh, tell me.
So there are 4 books.
Yeah.
There are going to be 6 movies.
Before's a movie, right?
7 movies, I guess, now that I think about it. There's 2 parts for the 4th book. There's a movie for Before.
Ugh.
Which doesn't
even make sense.
Hero, Finn Stiffen, and Just Feelingford will not be a part of. And there's going to be a sequel that focuses on the children that
I remember that.
Hero and Josephine will not be a part of either.
And I will not watch, and it will be a Lifetime original.
So there are going to be 7 movies.
That's so dumb.
For 5 books.
4 books. Well, 4 plus before. I don't even count before because it's just
But
not.
yeah,
It's just not good.
They're just making a movie out of nowhere. So
It's so dumb.
they just focus on the kids, which is weird to me that they're not going to have Hero or Josephine in it, but it's going to focus on their kids. But then they can also make a 2-part for the last book that also includes their kids, but I don't know, that's just my opinion, whatever.
It's dumb.
Also, I don't think the people making the movies truly understand before, because I haven't read it, obviously, but I know it's not all like Hardin as a toddler, and that's their reasoning for not casting Hero in it, because it's supposed to be a younger Hardin. But there's also Molly, and there's Zed, and there's a bunch of other things.
Right. No, it's Hardin, like, it's during the same time as after. It's his point of view.
Well, that's their reasoning for not casting Hardin in it, because it's a young Hardin.
Well,
I mean, not casting
I
Hero.
won't watch it because I didn't like the book, so I'm definitely not gonna read or watch the movie.
You have to read it. We're doing a whole mini episode on it.
Whole mini episode, teeny tiny. Don't care.
We do.
I care a little.
Not enough, but enough.
Enough to do a short episode on it and just talk about how much we hate it. Just kidding. Kind of.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, so that's our finish, our finito.
Our fin, if you will.
The end of the
Core
after series.
The core of Anna Todd.
Yeah. We're very happy to be done. As much as we love, which I think we said before, as much as we love reading these books, we were ready long past due to be done. These books are long. There's a lot of redundancies. We were just over it. We're ready to move on, which, like we said before, we are going to be reading. We're going to be reading Hidden Pictures by Jason. Rekulak. Okay. Jason Rekulak. We're really excited. A little horror, a little thriller.
It was originally recommended to me on TikTok. Because it's spooky dooky, if you will.
Yeah, we're really excited. This is a super change for us.
Yes. I mean, TikTok was too for you, but whatever.
So we're excited.
I mean, Steven Spielberg himself gave it 5 stars, so
that's awesome. I'm scared. I'm excited, but I'm scared.
Spooky.
So please send us, any recommendations,
comments, concerns, questions.
Yeah, send us anything. Like, if you've got something on the after series, you were like, hey, I felt this way. We love to hear that.
You want us to shout your mom out, let us know.
Yeah. Happy birthday to whoever. We'd be happy to do that too. I know we're not super popular, but we're getting there, buddy. Let's see. Like, review, subscribe. That helps us.
We're on
like
YouTube.
Anywhere. We're on YouTube, TikTok,
Facebook,
Instagram,
and Twitter.
Kind of. I don't post as much on
I
Twitter.
love Twitter. And we have an email, so
booksandbestiespodcast@gmail.com,
which we mentioned at the beginning.
Yep. DM us. We will read the DMs because we don't get that many.
Yeah, DM us on any social media platform or email us. If you know us personally, just text us. It's fun. Just kidding.
True, though. If you know us personally and you're listening, text me.
All right, prove that you listened to the ending, Walt. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. I think that's it. We are ready to finish the after series.
Which, if you don't want to listen to the mini chapters, then you guys are finished with the after series.
Yeah. This will all be out on the same day.
Right. We're going to wrap up in a few days with Before and the movies. And then we're moving on to new things.
Hidden Pictures. We haven't picked out anything afterwards. So if you have any recommendations, we need those at least 2 weeks in advance.
Yeah. Just because Amazon Prime is not as fast as it used to be.
Right. So I'm like, I won't even get my book until tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
of Hidden Pictures. So then I've got less than a week to read it.
You say that like you won't finish it in like a night.
I know. I say that like, oh, it takes me a week, but
I mean, it is a physical book. It might actually take you a little longer this time.
I know, but it's supposed to be scary and keep you on the edge of your seat. So I'm probably gonna finish it in like one sitting and be like, oh my god.
And then you'll have to go to work the next day and be super tired.
And I'll be scared.
So scared.
I'm so scared. All right, guys. Yeah, reach out. We are available on all the platforms and YouTube, and we would love to hear from anybody at this point. So that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Shout out again to our PA person. Thanks for sticking in. Sticking with us.
Thanks for sticking it in.
Thanks for sticking with us for 4 episodes. We hope you're here for this one because we gave you like a ton of shout outs. And that's all I got.
Shout out to family, friends, and coworkers that are supporting us.
Woohoo.
And we'll catch you next chapter, smuts.
Later.